Founded back 10 years ago, KCCL caters for the needy children in the society. Needy in terms of learning, and today we'll just find the brains behind it. Completely a community-based school owned and run by parents of children with learning disability, the center in Kasarani is currently headed by Ciriaka Gitonga, who is in her late 40s. Born in Igonji village, Imenti South, she was privileged to pursue education when it was a privilege for the girl child.
I grew up in the village. Life was not very easy. Children, our time, we really used to work at a very early age. And so school to me was the best place I could be.
Born out of wedlock, St. Joseph Primary School not only served as an academic center, but emotionally she found her social links as well.
I didn't get to interact very closely with my mother. And so Teacher Priscilla was really like a mother to me. She was soft, she was mild, she was compassionate. And in her, I never just saw a teacher, but I also saw a mother and a friend. I actually don't know whether she knows these things. But the truth is that I really admire that, because when I came from home, I came to school where I also got somebody who was like a mother to me.
At Standard 3, she had made up her mind to do nothing but study, and nothing was to change this, having to repeat classes when necessary.
And I think the breakthrough came now when I qualified to go to the university. I realized, now I'm going to be very, very successful. So I enrolled in Kenyatta University, and the interesting thing, I was so passionate about education that I really never knew there were other degree programs that I would have applied for. And as a result, I applied to do education 3 times and Kenyatta University 3 times.
On completing her education degree, it was time for employment, which came in handy. But the teacher-student relation dawned to be a different thing altogether, far beyond her expectations.
I think I was a traditional teacher. You know, a traditional teacher, the way you've learned, the teacher stands and gives the information, and a traditional teacher doesn't build relationship with the children. So I started my teaching from that point. So I found myself in my early teaching experience being in a school which had all the category of students, but my training as a teacher had not adequately prepared me to truly manage a class of students with diverse abilities. And that caused a frustration. Because I go to class, I have prepared to teach and I've prepared very well, but when I teach, I don't get the results.
Having taught for 10 years on a trial and error basis, she quit to go back for a master's program in education psychology. After which, now she was fully equipped to work in a different setup. She got employed at KCCL, but her first day at the center was a life-changing moment.
So where I was running away from, now I came to a center now where these students are, who are despised, who are not regarded as they can be able to be successful, and there I was. And there was this particular, the first day, there was this particular boy who had the attention deficit with hyperactivity. And the guy would come on top of the table, go under the table, get uncomfortable and walk around, and I was meant to support him. And so all of a sudden, because I was in a nice skirt suit, Jeff lifts my skirt up and I say, wait a minute, I have to go and get trousers. But I couldn't get mad with Jeff. He didn't understand what he's doing. That is him. It is his condition. You can't punish him. And I realized I had now to change my approach to teaching. I had to look at this child, empathize with them, and be very patient with them, and appreciate that it is not that he doesn't want to learn. He really has a genuine, serious need.
I don't know for your case, but in mine, I cannot actually account for how many teachers have taught me. And I believe the same for teachers. Not all can account for how many children have gone through their hands. But here, the situation is different.
We can account for, because we have been on for 12 years, we have about 40-something graduates, and we can account for each one of them. And we know what each one of them is doing. Some doing very well in academics, some still struggling with business because they need people who can mentor them in the business world.
Despite the children at the center having diverse learning difficulties, Mrs. Gitonga has come up with an assessment program that classifies every child to a level that the teacher can understand every aspect of the learner.
You're doing?
Business studies, that one.
Business studies?
Yeah.
What are you doing about such? Psychological tests are of different types. They test different abilities. There are those that test at interest. There are those that test the intellectual abilities. There are those that test, the personality test and so on. But when it comes to academics, we not only have the psychological test that test achievement, the educational achievement test, but we also have the IQ test. Now, our school can use both the achievement test, which we actually are now using, but when we use them at the end of class 8, the national ones, and at the end of Form 4. But when children come to class 1, or the children are enrolled in nursery, how do we test their mental ability? We don't. We just enroll children in school. And that's why you find when they're getting to class 8, schools start discovering this one will interfere with our final grade, and then they send them away.
She says with the current education review, a schedule has to be made to guide students either towards academic or vocational training.
When will we have an assessment test that can be used by Kenyan children? Uwezo report the other day said the children class 8 children cannot read a class 2 book. And I went to the office and I asked them, why? Why is a child getting to class 8 before they read a class 2 book? It's either pointing at the teaching, they're pointing at the fact that we don't know the levels of these children. It's pointing maybe at the care the children are getting. And so there are many things that we really need to answer. But I really emphasize that assessment, it is high time we start thinking about it. If we are really going to meet the Vision 2030, they're talking about the fact that they'll be able to offer education that is accessible to every child. It's not a question of having children go to school. It's a question of making a difference in the lives of those children.
For her, lack of a proper assessment tool has continued to severely affect the quality of education delivered.
Why do we have special needs in school? It's because the current regular schools do not, and I'll repeat, do not support learners who are slow. They don't have any mechanisms. In fact, what has been happening, the reports in January always tells us depressing stories of schools rejecting children to register for KCSE, KCPE especially. Why they won't allow them to register is because they'll bring their miniscon down, and those schools are there to make profits. They're not charitable schools. So what I'm emphasizing is that not that we have gotten it ourselves, we are struggling, we are trying to develop our own assessment too, and we have done well in terms of getting the children and assessing them. We are able to determine what mental age that this child is functioning at. And so we group our kids according to their mental age. Even if you are 20 and you come and take our assessment, we'll be able to classify you given your mental age. And when we instruct you according to your mental age, you do well. That's why your children do well, because we don't give you stuff which is going to suffocate you.
Her formulated assessment tool is based on mental age rather than the actual age in years, begging questions whether it applies to regular curricular students.
The world over is about integrated program, or actually inclusion. The thing is include all children in one class, so that if the children come and they are all of the same chronological age, that is, if you qualify to be in class 1 at the age of 6, all of you join class 1 at the age of 6. But then, for that to be attained, for instruction to be fair, the teacher handling those children need to be aware of their, I said, mental age. So these children are managed within the same classroom. That's what we call differentiated instruction within the same classroom. I don't know what the government is doing, but I know one of the things that every school should have is a special needs teacher. What is typical of other international schools and whatever is that they have what they call the learning support. The learning support is actually a special needs teacher who works with the other teacher to support learning for learners who are slow. So the policy of inclusion and the campaign about inclusion is preparing a classroom where we'll all learn. Even if you're good, you're very, very academically good, and even if I'm slow, I'm supported to come up.
Currently being on her last stages of pursuing a doctorate in education psychology, policy implementation presents as the greatest obstacle for her.
So I think it's a new concept, and I'm very sad about the research we are doing in this country, because when you go to most of the universities' shelves, they have the solutions. The research that there is, that has been done for doctoral studies, papers that have been written, have solutions. But the question is, who is going to implement? Not that we don't have solutions. People have said, let us develop assessment tests. I've even met professors who have developed some of those assessment tests, but they are gathering dust somewhere. Yeah. Because implementation of that, also developing a psychological test is not easy, it's very expensive. In fact, even what we have developed for our center is meant for us, but I was saying once we have published, we'll be able to share it with schools and gather information and make it a stronger tool.
She also puts teachers training to task.
That the universities and the teacher training colleges must rethink teacher training. There is no other way. The university must be training a teacher. The colleges must train a teacher. We must not give them for personal and just the training for personal enhancement. Like now teachers are going back, people are going back to colleges to get the TSC to give you a promotion. The training that the lecturers are giving, the universities are giving, the training that is given in colleges, they must question, are they preparing a teacher? The government must find out, how do we train teachers who are effective? Because I don't follow the teachers, I follow the training that they are given.
Mrs. Gitonga's story perfectly befits your favorite segment of Beauty and Brains. It's dedication with an endeavor to overhaul the entire teaching fraternity. Henry Minor, GBS.